Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and today is the first day, not just of 2025, but it is the first day of the 48th year of the Steve Kane Show being live on the radio right here in the state of Florida. 48 years. So, wow. The Steve Kane Show is the longest running radio show in the state of Florida, now celebrating 48 years on the radio. So that is absolutely amazing. We are here live on this New Year's Day, everyone. Welcome. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 glorious years on the radio. We got a lot to cover. And I must tell you, if you do not have to be on the road today, don't be on the road today. All right? Don't be. I was just out there, and when I was leaving my development this morning, there were people coming home just in my development, and they weren't driving that good, okay? So people that are on the road right now, a handful of people got to go to work. A handful of people have to go to work because January 1st is the new year. But if you don't have to be on the road, don't be on the road. You know, on these mornings like today, the first, I have worked and been on the roads at a lot of New Year's days over the years. And I've seen a lot of deadly accidents, and they're pretty bad because, you know, even when you get up until like 10 o'clock in the morning, I mean, I don't like to be on the road on New Year's Day until after 10 a.m., and when I drive in to the radio station and the different studios that we've broadcast from over the years, no matter where they're located, when I've come in on January 1st of all these years, I've never driven in where I felt like it was safe. I've seen concrete light poles broken on tops of cars with bodies in them. There was one time when we had our studio in Coral Springs, which was just down the street from Wings Plus on Sample Road. I was driving. I get to University Drive and Sample Road. I'm heading westbound on Sample Road in Coral Springs. I get to University Drive. I get a red light, and a guy was heading southbound on University, and just boom, did something, and his car spun around. He hit a light post. That was it, you know, and he was hurt pretty bad. And there's been some January 1st that I've driven in where I've seen people, I'll pull up to a red light, there'll already be a car there, and the car next to me, I look over, and the person driving the car, they're asleep at the wheel, just sitting there at a red light. The light turns green. They don't wake up. I drive off. In fact, one year I saw that. I called the police, and it was a guy and a girl. The guy was behind the wheel. The girl was in the passenger seat. They were both passed out at the red light. I called 911. And it was so bad, I was afraid they were going to drive off. I pulled over and waited for the police to arrive in case they left so I could tell them where they were going. So January 1st is a day that you do not want to be on the road unless you have to. And then, you know, I do the show, I get off the air at 9, and I'm driving home, and it's between 9 and 10 a.m., and there's still questionable people on the road because, you know, at this early hour, you've got the 5 a.m. bar people. You've got people that have woken up in the driveways or the parking lots of wherever they celebrated New Year's, and they're driving home. You know, the hookups, they're leaving their hookups house, you know, and they're still not sober. It's just dangerous. And it was foggy again today when I went out. So stay off the roads unless you absolutely have to. And what do they call that? Driving defensively. Be safe. It's just not a good day to be on the road. Well, we got a lot to cover today. Again, my name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. It is the first day of 2025. And think about it. We're just 19 days away from the inauguration of the greatest president ever, Donald Trump. And this is historic on so many levels. But, this is one thing we've got to, get our minds wrapped around. Since 2015, so we've really had, it'll be 10 years this year since Trump came down the escalator, right? So for 10 years, we have been in constant fight mode. Yeah, I mean, do you realize that? I mean, we have been in really a heightened state since Trump came down the escalator, because there has not been a single moment since Trump came down the escalator that they haven't been after him, right? Lies, smears, Access Hollywood tape, Mueller investigation, break-ins at Mar-a-Lago, Fannie Willis, the beat goes on. You guys know it's been non-stop, and we have been working hard. We've been struggling. We've been working against these lawfare monsters. We've been working against these DC insiders. As an example, when Trump was elected the first time, we controlled both houses of Congress then too, we thought, right? Because they were under Republican control. But what did we have? We had Paul Ryan in the House and Mitch McConnell in the Senate. They slow-walked everything Trump was doing. And the wall has not been completed because Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell slowed things down in the first 2 years. And then the Democrats won back control in the first midterms. And then we had Schumer and Pelosi, who really stopped a lot, so the wall wasn't finished. And then, of course, the shutdowns and lockdowns and all that era. But after Trump left office, for the last 4 years, we've been in constant campaign mode as well. We've had to combat traitors and people we thought were MAGA, like Ron DeSantis. We all these things that have been going on, and it's been 10 years this year of struggle, of activism, of defending against the most insane smears that have ever been put out there about a president or a candidate. Okay? And now what we got to get our minds wrapped around, and this is not an easy thing to do, we've won. We have a MAGA president, we have our MAGA House, our MAGA Senate, and our Trump Supreme Court. We've won. And when we get back, I want to talk about what that means. Now, I'm not into New Year's resolutions. I know a lot of people are in the New Year's resolutions. I am not in the New Year's resolutions. However, after yesterday's show, Steve Kane called me and wanted me to make a New Year's resolution. And this one is one I'm going to work very hard to keep. It is to take our breaks on time. And our breaks, we do have a break schedule. I just don't really adhere to it too much. So I'm going to attempt on this first day of 2025 to take each and every break on time. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Great. Okay. So we're in break. Talking to Mike through tech. We're coming back at 6:15 and 10 seconds. All right, so I'm talking with Mike. We're coordinating. We're coming back at 6:15 and 10 seconds. Okay. So, we're doing this on a holiday so that any technical things we can work out a little easier. So we're coming back at, he's going to give me the exact time. Yeah, if you watch on the other, if you're watching on the wide stream, you get the blue wall behind me. When I go over the articles, you'll see all of them. So I thought it was best to do this on a holiday for the first time. Yeah, I like it too. It's a little awkward for me. But, that's the way it is. This is a green screen behind me. This is where I podcast from. It's where I record all the commercials. And, you're welcome to call in. It's the same number that I use at the radio station. I just have it forwarded to my phone line here, 888-465-2631. 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, celebrating 48 years on the radio, this first year back. Our number is 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. So just to finish up what I was talking about in the first segment, after 10 years of fighting the lawfare and the evildoers, okay, we've won now, and what we've got to do is get our head in the mind that we've won. We've been fighting in Trump's first term all the way through now. What we've been fighting is a lot of things, but in large part the Republican establishment, right? The rhinos. I mean, look at this stuff with Liz Cheney, with the rhinos that we've been dealing with since Trump was first elected to his first term. And the Republican establishment has been defeated. Not only has the Republican establishment been defeated, we are the Republican establishment now. We got to get our minds around that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Well, let's try it again.
Hey, Brian, this is Sean, California.
Hey, Sean, what's on your mind?
Well, today I want to give you props for the theme of the show, that we should go with what Trump says. And one of these days I'll get more in depth on what I'm going to add to that, and that we the people, as long as we can express our will through Donald Trump, Trump's mission is essentially a reflection of what we're doing. So we should be kind of directing our POTUS as much as he's also guiding our nation's policy.
What do you mean? What do you mean by directing Trump? What do you mean by that? Directing Trump. What does that mean?
Well, we the people have the means through our elected representatives to, contact them through various means to say this is what we'd like to see, not just 2025, but 2026, 2027, and so on. So my point is never disengage. We still got a long road ahead of us. And, you're encouraging MAGA to keep on trucking, and that's what I'm here to say, too, is we got a lot of work ahead of us. It's not just going to be Donald Trump. We got to have his back, and that's going to require us to put in some hours, too, as patriots and just good, hard-working Americans in this new year.
You seem pretty awake for California, because it's 3:18 in the a.m. in California. Are you just getting up, or you've been up all night?
I've called you a few times. I do security guard work at night, so
yeah, but it's a holiday.
East Coast fix.
East Coast fix. Well, also you had to work through the New Year's Eve celebrations.
Yep, got called in to cover for someone else.
Oh, that's the worst.
But that's how you make that money,
I hate it. When I've had jobs where you get called in, that's the worst.
It's not bad when it's holiday pay, and to be honest, I was either going to watch the countdown or, take an early nap. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. Good to hear from you. Appreciate it. All right. First call of
God bless.
2025. Oh my goodness, and it went well. All right. Yeah. So what we've really been, and I don't know, we haven't had time to really process this. Okay. But what we all have been in the MAGA movement under President Trump since he came down the escalator, we have all been activists. We have been MAGA activists. All right? And now we're no longer activists. We are now the establishment. MAGA is now the establishment. We're no longer activists. Does that make sense to you? Because we've defeated all this stuff. And, this is just my opinion on this, and yours may differ, and you're welcome to call in and agree or disagree. And if you disagree, tell me where I'm wrong. But, President Trump has been running since 2015. He's been in a nonstop campaign mode, even in his first term. Okay, so not only have we been in a campaign mode, in an activist mode, we've also been kind of in a hyper anxiety state because we've been through so much in these last years, in particular the last 4. And when you're in an activist state, and the fight is over and it's been won, we have to get behind our leader, President Trump, this great cabinet and staff that he's putting together, because we're 19 days away from inauguration. We've been activists for Trump for 10 years because he's representative of what we want. So the time to be an activist is over. Now we're in the governing phase. And what President Trump needs are not activists now. He needs people that are going to get behind him and support him. And you can take a great lead from President Trump. Like, as an example, last night, when President Trump walked into his New Year's party at Mar-a-Lago with Melania, there were press there asking him questions. And there were some gotcha questions, which is fine. They can ask gotcha questions if they want. But they were asking him about reversing his position on the H-1B visa. Now, the H-1B visa has been talked about endlessly for 6 days. I'm not saying it's not an important issue, but it's so down on the list of things, I don't even know if it's on the list, right? And if it is, it's so far down, it's not worthy of fighting over or debating right now because there are much larger fish to fry. But they were trying to play gotcha with President Trump when he walked in, and he didn't play ball. In fact, he kind of ignored the question and went on with something else. And if you've noticed, since Trump has won re-election, he's done some interviews. Some of them have been with liberals in the media, no doubt about it. But he hasn't been getting involved in debates with the press. He hasn't been involved trying to sell himself to the press or to talking heads or any media outlets. He's been really kind of quiet so far as President Trump normally is, and just organizing to do what it is that we want him to do. And what happens a lot of times with activists, and there's no doubt about it, all of us in the MAGA movement have been activists for 10 years. I mean, do you guys agree with that we've been activists? I think we've been activists. And I've often said that MAGA we're now the political establishment, but it's President Trump has not just been leading an incredible political movement, the greatest political movement in the history of the United States. President Trump is also a civil rights leader. MAGA is also a civil rights movement. And it's the largest civil rights movement in history because he's not leading a particular group, women, a different ethnic group. President Trump is leading all Americans to freedom with the MAGA civil rights movement from that perspective, okay? And if you look at civil rights organizations, one of the problems that these and they're other than MAGA, they've all been left for the most part, at least the ones during our lifetime. When women were activists to get the vote, those were Republican women, by the way. The suffrage movement to giving women the right to vote, which they got in 1920, that was a Republican movement, okay, not a liberal movement. The Democrats were trying to stop it. But what happens with these civil rights organizations, when they accomplish their goals, they're still fighting, and then they get pathetic. As an example, Martin Luther King, of course, launched the civil rights movement for African Americans, for blacks. That was won decades ago. Segregation is over. We have racial equality in this country. But these civil rights groups have remained in operation all these years. They've never folded. So what they've morphed into is just insane self-destructive stupidity. BLM, Black Lives Matter, as an example, with, we're going to defund the police. Defund the police? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And the reason that they get to such absurdity of defunding the police, tell that to the people getting killed on the subways in New York, is because they've won everything they fought for and they have nothing left to fight for. You understand? And we've got to be careful that the MAGA movement doesn't become that. That we're not still fighting after we've won the war. Does that make sense to you? Now, I'm sticking with my New Year's resolution that I promised Steve Kane yesterday, and I am going to attempt to take the breaks on time. Steve says you take the top of the hour break on time, every day. Why not the other ones? Why can't you? That's okay. Okay. So we're coming up to our bottom of the hour break. My name's Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio as of today. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be back right after this. All right, and we are out. I got to turn the fan on. Hold on, guys. I've got a ceiling fan. I'm going to turn the ceiling fan on. You're on the air. No, you're not on the air yet. I'm going to put you on hold. All right, hold on. Okay. Got the callers on hold. The new phone system, which I'm kind of getting used to. All right. I like this. This is much, much easier for me. Janine, $20 super sticker. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you. Now, when you're on hold with this, you don't hear me talking while you're on hold. You hear music. So, and that's probably going to stay that way with this studio. You're going to hear music. I'm just texting with Mike. If you're on hold, hang in there. After I do this a few times, there won't be so much delay. The main thing is I got to make sure that I give him enough time to cut my mic off and that we come back okay. All right, he says everything's going well. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. Can you guys hear the ceiling fan or not? Is it interfering? let me know. I can turn it down. I got it on high. It's certainly quieter than the fan at the radio studio. That's for sure. You can't hear it. That's awesome. The fan's quiet. Awesome. Have some people on hold. And you should be hearing the calls much better than you normally would. I just got to get used to the buttons because the buttons are a little different. When I get comfortable with doing this on the air, because we got to work these things out, I will extend the length of the live stream. I'll either start early or run late. So make sure you have the notifications clicked. Okay. If you're on hold, hang in there. Now remember, when you're on hold with this system, you don't hear me or the radio station. You hear beautiful music. I'm just waiting to hear from Mike. Thanks for joining me, everyone, because I know it's a holiday. I haven't stayed up to watch the New Year switch over in years. I'm not impressed by that. It doesn't do much for me. Start early, Lisa? I probably will. Like maybe I would start the mainstream at 5:30 maybe. All right, hold on. Hearing from Mike. Ten seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Celebrating 48 years on the radio. It is January 1st, 2025, and we're here live. All right, so I'm going to go to the phones. 1-888-465-2631 is our number. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. Once, twice. All right. That's it for you. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling? Yep. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Ryan.
Yes, you're on the air.
Carrie from California.
Hey, Carrie. What's on your mind?
Ryan.
Yes.
Oh, shit. It's really me.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Did you get that, Mike? Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. First time, Mike. All right. We got to wait for the delay to rebuild. Oh, my goodness. We got to wait for the delay to build back up. If you're on hold, hang in there. I understand it is the first day of the year. And some people may be intoxicated in the listening audience. As we wait for the delay to build back up, I'll finish my thought. What I was talking about is when the civil rights organizations win what they're activists for, they stay activated. And because they stay activated, they start getting into the absurdities. I was talking about how Martin Luther King's movement, because, you know, the civil rights movement, if you were to write a history of the civil rights movement for blacks in the United States, okay, it would begin with Martin Luther King and the bus boycott, maybe, and it would end with the election of Barack Obama when we have a black president. Maybe that would be the beginning of the end. And these civil rights movements stick around. So Martin Luther King's great movement morphed into Black Lives Matter, which got into the absurdity of defunding the police. Another one is the gay rights activist, okay? Gay rights activist won everything. Gay marriage is now the law of the land in all 50 states, and the gay activist won everything. But the gay activist stayed activist after they won everything. So what did they morph into? Drag shows for elementary school students, and transgender swimmers and boxers beating up women in the Olympics, okay? So you understand what I mean? The absurdities, how these activist groups, gay activists, black civil rights activists, because they kept in activist mode after they won, they've discredited themselves with these absurdities. And the reason I share that is we've got to understand that in the MAGA movement, we don't want that to happen to us. We don't want that to happen to us. We won. President Trump was just reelected. Follow Trump's lead. We have been with Trump for a decade. We're back. We're no longer activist. And if we continue on this activist head, we're going to get ourselves into some absurdities. And these MAGA wars that have been going on for the last 6 days is not the absurdities like I gave with defund the police or what the gay activists have gotten into, but it's the beginning of what could turn into that absurdity if we don't stop it now. All right, back to the phones we shall go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. Can you hear me?
I can. 1 second here. Hold on. I'm getting used to my new system here. There we go. Yes, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Agnes Bishop. I'm calling on behalf of myself and my husband, John.
Okay.
We're so excited about...
Last names are not necessary, just first names. But go ahead, Agnes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's my first time calling.
Well, welcome.
We're here in Florida. Yeah, we're here in Florida. We've been watching you and your wife. You're such a wonderful couple, and everything that you do is just so benevolent. I'm just so excited about what Trump's going to be doing this year as far as the administration. I'm concerned about how he's going to communicate everything to us, and if there be a way that he
What do you mean?
Consolidate.
What do you mean?
There's so many avenues. Sure, there's so many avenues of communications that we have, but it's just would there be a way for him to consolidate it all so that we don't have to go to so many websites, so many TV shows, so many, anything that's on.
Well, the only show you need is me. All right, you need this show. That's it. You need you need no other shows. Just this one. But Trump's going to do everything through probably Truth Social post. I mean, that's where you go. He'll probably continue that.
Yes, that's good. That's good too. Okay. Well, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
We're all excited. And have a happy New Year.
Absolutely, a happy New Year. Take care. Thanks for the call. Yeah, so far so good, except for the one little craziness that happened. 1-888-465-2631 is the number. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Happy New Year. Happy
Rich.
New Year to you, my friend.
Hey.
And to your wife and
Thank
to your
you.
daughter.
Thank you.
And to all your loved ones.
Thank you.
Now, you're gonna say at the end of this, I'm gonna depress you a little bit, and I'm not. And don't
Well, that's
say
what
I'm
you
not
do.
A winner.
That's what you do. You're a depressing kind of guy.
Yeah, but I agree with you 150% that President Trump is the greatest president. I agree that his cabinet is probably the greatest cabinet that's ever put together. I believe that if you and I were in the Congress and the Senate, everything that he wants to do, he would get done because we wouldn't obstruct.
Mm-hmm.
But now reality is going to set in. You mentioned that Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell blocked him with the wall. Well, it's a numbers game, Brian. And the fact is, we got two women that always go along with the Democrats and always obstruct us.
Yep.
On our side, okay, we have others that do that. So President Trump, the Speaker of the House, believe it or not, has to go over and beg Democrats to vote for him and whatever agendas, and they're obstructionists, and they're going to try to obstruct everything.
Yeah.
And Trump is. And so what I'm saying to you is he's like a guy that's going to step on the accelerator, and at the same time he's going to have an elephant back of the truck holding it back from moving.
Yeah.
Because these people are devious.
Yes.
These people are so devious. I don't see it as wonderful. He's going to have the fight of his life, and we don't have the numbers. We didn't do enough in Congress to get. We lost some seats that we should have won in the last midterm, and this time we didn't get. Everyone voted for President Trump, and I can't understand why they didn't vote for Republicans.
Because a lot of Democrats, registered Democrats, voted for Trump, but they still voted Republican for the House races and Senate races.
Yeah, and that hurts us terribly. The guy in Utah, for example, he wasn't a MAGA guy. He actually beat Trump's. So he's up there saying, I'm going to hope he gets there, I'm going to root for him, but I'm not going to be a rubber stamp.
Yeah.
He needs rubber stamps right now, man. I mean, I just think it's going to be a fight at every corner. The people are behind Trump, but the Congress is not. And by the way, they take everything to court, these guys. You got these nonprofits that take everything to court.
Yeah.
You have these left-wing judges that obstruct. Everyone is an
Well,
obstructionist.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but Trump, we got what we got. So we got. You can only work with the materials you have. We still have the majority. It's not as big of a majority as I would like. But I don't think Trump's sitting back thinking like you. He's going to get stuff done because he's
going to have the executive order.
Yes, and and the problem with that is it can be reversed by the next president on day one. That's we want to get as much done, but there were some things that they can't reverse. I'll give you an example. Okay, when Trump finishes the wall, everything Biden did, they didn't finish the wall, but they didn't tear down what he built. So that's something that's very important that they won't be able to reverse. And no matter what they tie up in court, there's a lot of things they're going to go to court for, but I don't think Trump's going to stop doing anything while the process is still going on until the Supreme Court were to rule against him. So as an example, with the deportations, right? They're going to go to federal judges appointed by Biden and Obama. And some liberal activist federal judge is going to order the president of the United States to stop deportations. I don't think Trump will listen to that. He'll appeal it and continue to do it with Tom Homan through the appeals process, which will go to the court, and he'll still do. He's not going to waste time on stopping like they did that with the Muslim ban, as an example. He's not going to let some liberal activist judge stop him this time.
Yeah, but that wasn't that's the thing. You just said it right there. It was not a Muslim ban. That was created by the media. It was a ban of certain countries that were hostile to us, the Muslims of those countries.
Yes.
He let other Muslims into the country. So the media is just as bad. They're another one. They're the third branch of the Democratic Party.
That's true. All right, Richie, I got to keep my resolution to take every break on time, and we're approaching the break time. All right, take care. See, so if you're listening, Steve, I told you, I'll do it. Steve said, if you could take the top of the hour break on time every hour, why can't you take the other breaks on time? And you know what? I never thought about it that way, so it's making it easier. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I'm Brian Craig, back right after this. All right. So far, so good. Okay. I'm not talking so much during the breaks this first time, just in case Mike forgets to turn my mic off because he's doing things he may not normally do. All right. I'm not going to tell you guys how I'm hooked up, but it's fine. No, he's got to run the commercials, and Mike is where I normally am. He's where I normally would be. I have my copybook for the commercials here too. Well, thank you, JP. Thank you, JP. Appreciate that. A bench where I can sit down. Yeah, I've got a chair. Oh, 10 seconds. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Today, January 1st, live, the first day of 2025. And am I the only person that feels like we're living in the future? Because when I was a kid watching science fiction, a lot of it took place before this time, right? Right, exactly. Right, wasn't it Back to the Future 2 was like 2015? Buck Rogers in the 25th century left Earth in the year 1987. Lost in Space left Earth in 1990-something. I don't know. But, so we're living in the future in 2025. But we're here. And welcome, one and all. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It is a toll-free call, no matter where you are listening to us. And, of course, we got a lot to cover today. So I've been talking this morning so far about how we've got to be very careful not to stay in activist mode after we've won. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But first, I'm going to ask you this. Are you or someone you know and love suffering with neuropathy? You want to call Lighthouse Medical. We found Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano out of necessity. Steve had not only neuropathy, he had it so bad he was not able to really get out of bed. The pain, the dizziness, the tingling in the hands and feet. It was rough. And we had two things coming up. We had a personal appearance. That one we did at the mall where they called the cops on us because we were MAGA, remember that? And we had a cruise coming up. And Steve's like, I don't know how I'm going to do this appearance. And he went to his doctor. His doctor said there's no treatment for neuropathy. You got to learn to live with it. He went to a neurologist, a specialist, who told him the same thing. And I actually found Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano myself. And Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano not only have a neuropathy treatment, they have a neuropathy treatment that works. And Steve had his neuropathy treatment over 2.5 years ago, and those symptoms have not returned. So not only do they have a treatment for neuropathy at Lighthouse Medical Center, a treatment that works, they also have a treatment that lasts. Give them a call. I'm going to give you the number in just a moment. Now, they can help you no matter where you are located. If you can't make it into the office, that's okay. No matter where you are in the United States, Lighthouse Medical Center can help you with your neuropathy. And a lot of times, family members make appointments and take their relatives suffering with neuropathy to Lighthouse Medical, because a lot of times people have been suffering with neuropathy sometimes for years, and they're so worn down they feel helpless. Sometimes spouses, adult children will make appointments and take mom and dad in. Give them a call. Here's the number. Now, when you call, make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show, because if you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show, you get to take advantage of the no-charge consultation, which other places, other people that call, they don't get that. They don't, but you do if you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. Here's the number, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. All right, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. You can find the number there. Give them a call and get rid of that neuropathy. Stop suffering. Okay, so back to this. So we are now not in activist mode in MAGA. We've won. We are now the establishment. And, you know, you hear people often say you can't run the government like you run a business. I don't agree with that. I think that liberal talking point, which really is kind of like a rhino Republican establishment talking point, began because they don't run the government like a business. These people get into government to rip the government off and enrich themselves and their families. Right? That's why there's all this work against Elon because of Doge. They don't want Doge. Doge is like got them freaked out in total meltdown mode. All right? Because that's their money. They won't be able to continue their theft if Doge is gone. But you can run the government like a business. And when you're in business, it's like any other thing in the real world you're in, right? You negotiate. There's give and take. So there's another thing that we've got to be careful of. The first one that I've been talking about, the first 3/4 of the hour, is about we want to be careful that we don't stay in activist mode when we've won. So we don't get into the absurdities. And that's why these MAGA wars are beginning, because a lot of our activists, they don't know another way but to be activists. We've been activists for 10 years. I think a lot of people have not accepted that we've won. Okay, so here's the other thing. Richie the bus driver made some good points. We've got some traitorous people in the Republican Party. These rhinos, I call them rats. Republicans against Trump. I wish that would pick up. Republicans against Trump. We do have a lot of these in both houses of Congress. That is going to be a constant thing. You know, there are people that get elected because that political party registration is popular in that area, but maybe conservatism isn't right down the line. So they're Republicans in name only. They're, you know, the Democrats run into this too sometimes. I haven't heard about them in a long, long time. But we used to hear about the Blue Dog Democrats. Remember the Blue Dog Democrats? Blue Dog Democrats were conservative Democrats. Remember Gary Condon, who had that affair with Chandra Levy, and then she was found dead in the park? And remember that scandalous thing? It happened right, like, I don't know, about 6 to 9 months before 9/11. He was a Blue Dog Democrat. And the Blue Dog Democrats were pro-Second Amendment, pro-free speech, pro-family. They were against the gay rights activists and all these things, but they were still Democrats. You know, they were kind of like rhinos for the Democrats. So you're always going to have that type of person in the party, somebody that is a Republican in name only. So depending on how many of those you have to have, the other thing you have to be open to is a little bit of give and take and compromise. Listen, everything that the MAGA movement stands for, I believe, is the right way, and I'd like to get my way on everything. But if you insist on getting your way on everything or you're out, you're not going to get anything. So, you know, there's this discussion over the H-1B visas as an example, okay? That is important because it is abused. There's no question about it. It is abused. But that's not where you want to spend your energy right now. Right? You know, we are 19 days away from the inauguration of Donald Trump. Oh, and I want you to really think about this. We are 19 days away from President Trump's inauguration. Donald Trump said multiple times that he will be going full steam ahead by 2 o'clock. The inauguration is at noon. So they got to go through the speeches and the oaths and the parade. And by 2 o'clock, he's going to start doing things. instead of spending your energy on issues that are so far down the list, like the H-1B visas, you need to spend your energy, in my opinion, backing Trump with the blowback that he's going to get on day one when he's going to sign an unknown number of executive orders that are most of which are going to be incredibly controversial because the media and the liberals are going to have meltdowns. The pardons of the J6 prisoners, okay, and the deportations. There'll be other things, and we don't know what all the orders are going to be. But the deportations and the pardons in the beginning are going to drive the left bonkers and the media bonkers. Instead of getting activated and saying, okay, we've got two branches of MAGA now, which is almost where we are today, okay, we've got to get behind Trump because when he starts doing these big things that we elected him to do, he's going to face opposition like no one's business. That's why I've been saying the last 6 days during these so-called MAGA wars that we have to be united, we have to stick together, and not get involved in saying, well, this person's not MAGA, that person's not MAGA. Yes, they are. You know, remember President Reagan said the Republican Party is a big tent, and if you agree with me 80% of the time, you're in that tent. Well, I think those of us in MAGA that have been arguing over the last week over this H-1B visa, I think all of us are more than 80% MAGA. I think we're about 99% MAGA, if not 100% MAGA. All of us, okay? I don't think we have that 20% division. I don't think we are divided at all. I'm talking about Bannon, Loomer, Elon, okay? Charlie, all the people talking about this. We are so united, and there's been this appearance of division that just doesn't exist. When President Trump starts doing the things that he promised to do in this second term, the deportations, the pardons, everything, the opposition is going to be mobilized to a degree that I don't think you understand. You know, when the Muslim ban thing happened, okay, I think people forget. That was huge. They found, wasn't it an Obama-appointed judge in New York? And the press were all there, and they ordered it stopped. It was a big deal. There's going to be a lot of big deals, okay? But we have to understand this. We're in charge now. MAGA is the establishment. We are running the show, all right? Not them. We are running the show now. So don't get alienated from one another. Let's stick together because President Trump needs us, starting in 19 days, to stand up with him on these controversial things. Now, I'll go back to the phones after our top of the hour break. If you'd like to call in, please do. Our number 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It is a toll-free call no matter where you are listening to us. We are here live on this first day of 2025. Can you believe it? Day one of the 48th year of the Steve Kane Show being on the radio. And Mike Lindell at MyPillow with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, has launched so many incredible specials. No better way to start your new year than with getting a great night's sleep. I got to tell you, I have so many of the MyPillow products. I have every one of the pillows that he makes. The Giza Elegance pillows, the standard MyPillow, the MyPillow 2.0. I have every fill level. I have the MyPillow Giza Cotton Dream Sheets, both the regular cotton and the flannel. I have the Percow sheets. I have the MyPillow slippers. I have the MyPillow pet beds. I have the MyPillow bathrobes. I've even got the MyPillow neck pillow that you wear like on airplanes and things like this. I've got everything. I've bought all these products using our promo code Kane at checkout. Go to mypillow.com. Use our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout for incredible deals with Mike Lindell's New Year's special. And remember, it's free shipping on orders over $75 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Free shipping on all orders over $75 with huge discounts and a whole bunch of New Year's special discounts. So take advantage of that. And remember, when you do, every time you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you are, of course, supporting this great program, The Steve Kane Show, that's been on the air for 48 years now. Isn't that something? So go to mypillow.com, use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, for huge savings. That's Kane at checkout. All right, we'll take our break for the top of the hour. The first hour of 2025 is over. I'm Brian Craig. It's The Steve Kane Show. Back after this. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. All right. Now remember, when I use this studio, if you're on hold, you don't hear the radio station commercials or me talking. You hear pleasant, beautiful music. 1 hour down, 2 to go. Okay. I'll be right back. Be right back, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there. I know it's a little confusing for some people because when they're on hold, they're hearing music. But, so I know a lot of people are calling and they're getting confused. So I might have to do some call screening, which I don't like to do until people get used to it. No, no beach black. Beach background would be cheesy. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 of the first Steve Kane Show of 2025 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We've covered a lot in this first hour of the program, and, well, we got 2 more to go on this January 1st. If you'd like to call in, please do. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? And, oh, hold on a second. My apologies. Hold on. Let's go back. Okay. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll get to all of you. We got a new phone system I'm working with here. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Dave, Virginia.
Hey, Dave. What's up?
Yeah, I love your new format. Looks great, Brian.
Well, thank you.
You know, the main thing people have to realize in this country is what Donald Trump's doing when he first becomes president. He's putting in all of his plans he had when he was president the first time. He has to get rid of all the plans that the senile coot put in when he became president.
Well, you know, President Trump has said on a couple of interviews since he won re-election that in the first campaign, everything went so fast, even though it was a long campaign, that he started running. Next thing he knew, he won. He was in the White House. And he said he really didn't know Washington people. He didn't know who he could trust, who he couldn't trust. He says now he knows. And that's going to make this second term so much more effective, because that doesn't mean that he's not going to have some sellouts. There's always going to be a Benedict Arnold here and there. But yeah, that's just the nature of things. But he not only does he know who we can trust and not trust at a degree he did not know in the first term, he also has an understanding of how to get things done in Washington that he didn't have the first time.
Yep, that's right. Well,
All right.
Good talk, Dave.
All right, well, I appreciate the call. Take care. Take care. I do appreciate it. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right, that's it for you. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Sean from California again.
No, it's one call per day, Sean. One call per day. You know the rules. One call per day, even on a holiday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm from actually Sydney, Southern California.
All right, Mark in California. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, I'm just calling because it's very important to let everyone know that MAGA is coming, because everybody here in California feels it, especially the mayors and everyone that's around the city, because I live actually in Santa Ana, which is primarily Hispanics and a little bit of mix of everything, but for the most part, everyone here is in panic mode because a lot of the folks that have come in here before, once Trump left and a lot of people started flooding into California, a lot of the jobs were being taken up by them. And so now that everything is changing, and now that Trump is coming in, coming up in January, everyone feels it, and everyone is starting to either, they have two options. Either they start going back to Mexico, or they have to either figure it out what they're going to do, but they already feel it, that Trump's already coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you, when I see everything that's going on in California, I see in the news as an example, I don't know, I saw in the national news a couple days ago, they were showing grocery stores that have the groceries like locked up. Like if you go to stores in California, do you see things locked up that aren't normally locked up because the shoplifting, which was legal for a while, was so widespread? Or is that just like they found one store that does that?
No. Oh, no, it is widespread.
Really?
I'm telling you, the other day I went to Walmart around the corner from where I live. In order for you to, because my wife wears makeup, obviously, so there's a specific section where literally it's enclosed and it's only a one-way in, one-way out.
Wow.
Everything is covered in glass. Plus, they have a worker that's next to the cash register at that entrance for when you get your makeup. You have two options. Either they encapsulate it in a big plastic hard box that has magnetic systems on it, where if you try to get out of the building, it's going to sound off.
Really?
Two, you pay for it right then. Yes. Two, you pay for it right then and there at that spot with them, and then you take your receipt with you, and then they check you out at the front.
That's amazing.
And
so you've basically been living in fear. Been living in fear in California.
Man, where I live, around the corner where I literally live, one of the biggest issues that we have here is drug overdoses and homelessness.
Yeah.
We call the city, and the city does not do anything. And they have been preaching Prop 36. Did you know that we have won a landslide on Prop 36 for over 70%?
California, I want you to think about it, okay? When the deportations happen and the illegals of our country start getting deported back to their countries of origin, which are not all Mexico, they're from all kinds of countries, and California starts to get cleared of all the illegals, think about all the issues that are going to be solved. There'll no longer be crowded schools. Think about what it'll help with the traffic. I mean, everything that's going on in California right now. So many of the things will be solved just because there'll be so many fewer people there.
Bro,
Or
it's
so fewer people.
so overpopulated here. It is so overpopulated here that it is to the point where people start putting cones literally in the street for them to cover their parking.
It's
Everybody,
crazy.
the parking here is so scarce. The parking here is so scarce. They literally put cones that they steal from like all the construction sites that are building like roads and shit like that.
Oh, no. Oh, there we go again, Mike. Second time. Oh, boy. We've had to, here we are, first show of the year, and we've had to use the dump button twice already. So if you're on hold, hang in there while we wait for the delay to build back up. First show of the year, dump button twice already. Oh, my goodness. Well, listen, people are passionate. They're passionate. Yeah, I know MAGA's coming. And, I think what people are going to find is in a lot of these blue areas, okay, in a lot of these blue areas, that don't think they like Trump are going to start to like him a lot. Because the policies that Trump, these America First policies really they're popular. And a lot of people just don't know. Most people, I don't know about most, a huge chunk of Democrats, a huge majority of liberals are a lot more conservative than they realize, right? And, I've heard some people on social media in some of these liberal areas like California say, well, who are you going to get to mow your lawn? Things like that. I have a lawn crew. I have a lawn guy that mows my lawn, and they're Americans. Okay, he's an American, and he only hires other Americans. Now, there's other lawn crews that he has to compete with that are in the neighborhood that are illegals, but there are Americans who want to do a lot of these jobs. They just aren't available to them because illegals have been taking them. And they talk a lot about who's going to, in Florida, who's going to pick the oranges? Who's going to do this? A lot of this farm work they're talking about is much more automated than people realize. When I was a kid in the 70s and 80s here in Florida with the orange groves, they called the illegals, there was a kind of, I guess it's kind of a racial slur, but they called the illegals in Florida fruit pickers because they were picking their... That's been so automated now, it's not really a thing that people do all that much like they used to. We're coming up on our first break of the second hour. My New Year's resolution that I made to Steve Kane yesterday was to take our breaks on time. I've done that so far. This is our 5th break of the new year, and it's the 5th break that I've actually will be taking on time, which is a good thing. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number to call in is toll-free, no matter where you're listening, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Back right after this. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. It's the same number that I use at the radio station. And this is my home studio that I've been talking about, and I'm going to work here sometimes and sometimes at the radio station. I'm going to mix it up a little bit because there's a lot of things I still have to do at the radio station. So I do have to go there, but it's an hour to get there in the mornings and like 2 hours to get home sometimes even longer. Yesterday I didn't get home. It took me 3 hours to get home yesterday. But So far, so good, and we are almost at the halfway point. All right. Let's see.
In the run-up to the Persian Gulf War, he wrote letters.
Yeah, I know about this.
To all of our allies.
Oh,
in
yeah,
the Persian Gulf.
this was crazy. I want to talk about that when we get back. Okay, here we go. 'm just waiting for him to give me the count. I think we got a pretty good thing going here. I think it's going to work out better than I thought on the first day. I was, I doing this on today because it's a holiday, and I figure if we're going to have any technical problems, today is the day to do it. So far, everything's going well. Seconds, okay. Back in 30 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio as of today. We're live on this first day of 2025. If you're on hold, hang in there. You want to start the new year off safe and secure. No better way to do that than take advantage of the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's with the installation of your Sloman Shield. The doorbell camera connects directly to your cell phone. So you get a notification every time there's movement at your door, no matter where you are, and you can see who's at your door. Like when I'm on our cruises and these different Caribbean islands and countries, I still get those notifications when there's movement at my door, even when I'm out of the country. It's a great thing to have. And Sloman's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, and a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Take advantage of this. Call them right now. 1-833-283-5050. 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050. Get that doorbell camera and that system set up. All right, we are back, and I'm going to go back to our phones. We've had some pretty good calls today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mark from California. I actually called a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it's one call per day, man. It's one call per day. But I know you're new.
Oh.
But one call per day. All right, take care. I appreciate that. No, it's one call per day. It's okay. New listeners, they don't know. That's okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Happy New Year. This is Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug. What's up?
Okay. Man, oh, man. I want to say...
yeah, hold on one second here. Hold on. I'm getting used to all this stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I love you, your family, everybody, and all the listeners. Great. I'm thinking this year is going to be the year of President Trump. I think that a lot of these Democrats are going to say, well, if I want to be reelected, I better start agreeing a little bit with President Trump. I don't have to agree all the time, but I better not be so controversial and hatred that they were spewing. Otherwise, I think the American people showed everybody with this election that they're pretty much tired of what's been going on, and they better see it. And we'll soon find out. I know there's certain Democrats that
here's the thing. Like if you notice, you're not hearing so much from like the squad people like AOC, but Jasmine Crockett's all over the place trying to go up against Tom Homan, which is good. She is going to be very humiliating for her. She's never going to win against Tom Homan. But here's the thing. Okay, these never Trumpers and rhinos and Democrats are not saying to themselves, well, Trump won, MAGA won, that's it. What they're thinking about right now, Doug, is that the midterms are coming up, and they've got the midterms, and they're gonna take back the Congress in the midterms, because historically, incumbent presidents lose control of Congress in the midterms. That's kind of, Trump did in his first 2 years. So that's where their next move is. So I don't know if they're going to go along and pretend to be with Trump or not. I think they're going to try to oppose the things that he hasn't done anything yet, because he hasn't taken the oath yet. We've just been talking about it. So when he starts doing these things, they're going to come out hardcore against him, I promise you.
If he does something that's really controversial, like the Dreamers, if he throws all the Dreamers out, then that's something that's going to.
He's not going to throw the Dreamers out. He's not going to throw the Dreamers out.
Yeah, that's what I'm figuring. I'm figuring the Dreamers are safe. They'll try to make something out of we're breaking up families, blah blah blah. They'll try to say something, but I think the American people, like you said, Americans need jobs, and the jobs are being taken by the illegals.
Yep.
And enough is enough. I think everybody agrees with that. But I'm sure. Akeem and the rest of them are going to try to find, and the squad, find anything negative to say if they can. But I think the rest of them are going to say, I better be a little cautious, otherwise I won't get reelected. And that's the most important thing to them.
Yeah.
To be, they want to be and keep their salary and the way they steal
their
money.
The media, it depends on what happens with the media, right? Because there was all this talk that MSNBC was going to go off the air. Everyone was going to be fired. It was going to be sold. And, I don't know. But I know this, that in 19 days, when Trump takes the oath of office and the pardons and the executive orders happen and the deportations happen and all of this, all these liberals in the media are going to be all over Trump. They're going to be all, and it's going to bring new life to the left that they don't have right now, because we've been in this holiday lull.
Well, I'm expecting some, but I'm hoping it's not going to be as much as you're saying, man. I'm thinking.
All right. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate the call, Doug. You take care. All right, take care. All right, so let's go here now. Our number to call in is toll free. 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. And, of course, all the calls, as you guys know, are screenless. We only have one rule. Well, there's two rules. No profanity. Can't use profanity. And one call per day, because I know a lot of you are new to the show. It's one call per day. We don't limit how many times you can call in a week, although we're supposed to. We don't do that. But it's only one call per day. 1-888-465-2631. I found something out about Jimmy Carter that I did not know. I want to play this. This is Scott Jennings on CNN.
In the run-up to the Persian Gulf War, he wrote letters.
Yeah, I know about this.
To all of our allies and to Arab states, asking them to abandon their cooperation and coalition with the United States of America. If it's not treasonous, it's borderline treasonous. And so I hear what you're saying about the humanitarianism, but when you're an ex-president and you have served in that office, I think you have a duty to the United States and only to the United States. And when he did that and other instances, to me, It showed that he cared more about his own legacy than he did about the country, and I think that is wrong.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I did not know that. When Kuwait, so when Kuwait was invaded, Jimmy Carter tried to break up that coalition that H.W. Bush put together in the 1991 Gulf War. And I also saw a story that had a quote from President Clinton calling, when he was president, he called, there's an article about this I read this morning. President Clinton, when he was president, called President Carter a traitorous P word. And the P word is the one that ends in K. It's one of those words I can't say. And because there was some negotiation going on with North Korea, and Bill Clinton sent President Carter to deal with the North Koreans, and he didn't do what Jimmy Carter didn't do what President Clinton wanted him to do. And it's an interesting thing that we're hearing already from liberal outlets, CNN, and now this thing with President Clinton, which I had never heard. I knew President Clinton was angry at President Carter, but this traitorous P word, I'd not heard that before. And this traitorous action that President Carter took, which was a crime, a violation of the Logan Act in the buildup to the Gulf War, these are things that I did not know, and I don't think a lot of people knew. And it's interesting how all of a sudden there's all this negative reporting on President Carter coming out, which is very, I mean, a couple days ago when it first happened, I did a detailed breakdown of some of the terrible things President Carter was involved in, because they're putting him up on this pedestal, and what they're trying to say is, this is what a real decent president is about, like Jimmy Carter, not like Trump. They were trying to do that. But now even liberal sources are starting to report the truth about the history of President Carter and what a terrible president he was. But also now with this one, we're getting two things today, the clip I just played from CNN and the one I just shared with you about President Clinton, of what a terrible, traitorous person Jimmy Carter was, even in his post-presidency, which is pretty interesting stuff. All right. As I say, we're sticking with my New Year's resolution to Steve to take all of our breaks on time. So far, so good. We're going to take our bottom of the hour break on time. If you're on hold, hang in there. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number 888-465-2631. Back right after this. All right, we are out. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. Yeah, things have been, this is going much smoother than I envisioned. I guess I planned for the worst and the best happened. So everything is going very, very well. Now, I can't tell how it sounds on the radio, but Mike tells me everything's sounding fine. You know, one thing I learned in my early days in radio, it doesn't matter where you broadcast from on the radio, because people can't see it. Right? Like, I haven't told anybody on the radio that I'm using this studio at home, you know. So they may not even realize. You guys know because you're watching me on YouTube. And taking the breaks on time is definitely a plus. We get into this story when we get back. Well, like I've been telling you guys, all the Islamic terrorism coming out of Iran is his fault. Okay, we're coming back at 7:33. So that's like 4.5 minutes. We'll be back. All right. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is most definitely where MAGA comes to talk. I broadcast on a whole bunch of radio stations, on 8 FM radio stations, live in the morning and morning drive. That's what I'm doing now, but I also live stream here on YouTube while I'm on the radio. And the calls I'm taking are both from radio listeners, you guys on YouTube, and other platforms we're on online as well. But the number to call in live is pinned in the chat. Now, doing this from home is going to say I'm going to be able to get some more sleep. I will probably be able to sleep in about another 90 minutes to 2 hours every morning than what I normally do. Because it takes me an hour to get to the radio station in the morning from my house. So I got to get up early to do my show prep. I got to leave. I got to drive there, and then when I get there, I got to have time to set up. So this cuts out a lot of my time in the mornings that I'm wasting setting up there and driving. And then after. So, so like I said, when I'm going to, some days I'll be there, some days I'll be here. And what I'm going to start doing is, on the days I'm here, I'm going to do a longer stream. Like I'll start early or go, depending on the show, I might continue after 9 o'clock sometimes. Depends on where we stand, right? But there are days I have to go to the radio station for business and things. So... But this will make things a lot easier for me, and I'll probably do more podcast with my wife, shaving all that drive time off, which is really exhausting. All right, 90 seconds. We'll be back. Okay, 1 minute. This is working out much better than I envisioned. I've never done a change to a different studio that went as smoothly as this. I appreciate you guys joining me on this holiday. You never know what things will be like on a holiday. Okay, here we go. 30 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, and of course, we are live on this first day of 2025. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Today, The Steve Kane Show, beginning its 48th year on the radio. We've covered a lot. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-4 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Happy New Year. This is Nick out of Baltimore.
Hey, Nick. What's up?
Yeah, I wanted to wish everybody first of all, Happy New Year, a very prosperous 2025. I wanted to bring up, I know it's not Open Phone Friday, but it's something related to the whole topic here. There's a J6er named John Mullins who has been released, okay, and he is being threatened by the state of Virginia to be re-arrested under some ancient thing called the Good Behavior for Life Act. And the reason I'm mentioning that is these Democrats are not going to stop. And you're right when you've been saying that all along.
Yeah. Well, you may have seen today that Biden is commuting the death penalty of these 9/11 terrorists, like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, right, who was the mastermind who planned 9/11, and Sheikh Khalid Mohammed was the one. He got the idea, he said, for 9/11, watching the White House get blown up on Independence Day, which tells us that's probably where Flight 93 was going. So if he could take the death penalty off the table from these war criminals like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, President Trump pardoning these J6ers, I don't think is any big deal at all, and I wouldn't worry about it. I mean,
well, it shows you the difference between President Trump and Biden, though. Here he is commuting the sentences of murderers and people who tortured and raped children.
It's almost like Biden's helping Trump with these J6 pardons, right? I mean, he's commuting the sentences of really some bad people. I mean, he let that woman out of prison that was responsible for murdering 3 of her lovers, right? I mean, so with Biden, and I would imagine the big commutations and the big pardons will come at the end. So after what Biden has done, when Trump pardons the J6ers, it's going to be kind of like no big deal.
Yeah, but I can't wait until the 20th and things start to happen. And I just tell people, hang on, like you've been saying, just hang on.
19 days.
It's going to be bumpy, but it's going to be great.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, Nick in Baltimore, take care. Good to hear from you.
Hey, thank you.
All right, good. So far, so good. First show of the new year, and it is a holiday. But I got to tell I want to remind you guys, if you don't have to be out on the road this morning, do not. When I was out today, and the people that I saw on the road, some of them were real sketch. Okay, there are still, even right now it is 7:37, right? Even at 7:37 in the morning, there are drunks on the highway. Okay, they're coming home from whatever parking lot they passed out at. They're coming home from some hookup's house that they met at the bar. Or they woke up on the floor or the couch at someone's party and they're driving home. And I got in my car this morning in my driveway at 5 a.m. and I could not believe how many people in my own neighborhood were just coming home at 5 a.m. So, and over the years when, because I'm out on the road on January 1st most every year because, it falls during the week, we're on the air. Even when I get off the air at 9 and the sun's out and I'm on the road, it's 9, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, there's still a lot of drunks on the road because they're waking up at 9 in the morning wherever they passed out at, and they haven't detoxed yet, and so it's just if you don't have to be out, don't be out on the road. All right, so lots happening. We're 19 days away. Okay, we're 19 days away, and we're getting a lot of news which Trump's not the president yet. I know this president-elect period's going by slow. It's really amazing to me. These president-elect periods, we've been through them so many times, and President Trump has handled his in a way that's completely different from any other president-elect period that we've ever experienced. Okay, unless they're already an incumbent, because he's not in office right now. And if you remember, 4 years ago, when this senile, corrupt old coot Joe Biden was in his president-elect period, he established this office of the president-elect. They even had a seal. And what they usually do, and I expected President Trump to do a version of this, which he hasn't, but what all of them have done, and Clinton, it's been at least since Clinton, okay? The campaign spokesperson maintains their position as the spokesperson. Typically, they get, and usually the campaign, and that's happened in this case. Carolyn Leavitt was the campaign spokesperson. She's been announced to be the press secretary to replace this idiot Jean-Pierre. But usually, what happens during the president-elect period, the campaign spokesman becomes the spokesperson for the president-elect. And they have press conferences almost every day. And they're just like the White House press conferences. Whatever news is going on of the day, they take questions from the press. And it just like the White House press briefing, but it's just somewhere else. And that has not happened this time. And have you noticed that? And one of the reasons that the president-elect period for President Trump this time has seemed uneventful is not because of the holiday time we're in, Christmas, New Year's, and all that. That's every president-elect period falls during that period. It's because Carolyn Leavitt's done some interviews. She was on with McEnany this week and done some interviews, but she's not doing the daily press conferences. I haven't seen her do any press conferences. And President Trump hasn't been going back and forth with the press either. They tried last night at the New Year's party, the press, and he didn't have anything to do with going back and forth. And, you know, you got to wonder, is this how the second term's going to be? I hope so. And what I mean by that is, when they don't get involved in these conflicts back and forth with the press, have you noticed the press really don't have anywhere to go? Because Carolyn Leavitt's not having the press conferences, Trump's not going back and forth, and he has nowhere to go. Or he's giving them nowhere to go. He's not giving them any ammunition. And the press are kind of like without much to talk about because Trump hasn't given them anything to talk about. And he's ordered his cabinet officials and his staff picks not to talk to the press or to tweet even without it being cleared first. And the mainstream media, the Trump-hating liberal media, have really been neutered. And if Trump continues this way, the media are going to have a very, very difficult time because they've never operated with a president like this. All right, we're going to take our last break of the second hour. And I must say, I'm keeping my New Year's resolution to Steve. I have taken every break on time. Every break on time, and we're going to do that one too. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll-free 1-888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian, back after this. Waiting for the cue from Mike. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We're live on this New Year's Day, the first day of 2025, the first day of the 48th year of The Steve Kane Show on the radio. Now, if you or someone you know or love is suffering from neuropathy, start the new year without that neuropathy. Neuropathy is really, out of so many conditions that people have, it's right up there in the top 2 worst. It makes life unbearable. It's painful. It makes it so you can't move around. It makes people bedridden. It's living torture. The symptoms of neuropathy are just god-awful. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in the hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching, dizziness, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet. Some have no feeling at all. Many people have all these symptoms at the same time. Can you imagine? You know, your doctors will tell you there is no treatment for neuropathy. That's just not the case. There is a treatment for neuropathy, and they have it at Lighthouse Medical in Pompano. Not only do they have a treatment for neuropathy, they have a treatment that works. I've seen it work in Steve Kane and many of our listeners. And not only do they have a treatment that works for neuropathy at Lighthouse Medical, they have a treatment that lasts. Steve had his neuropathy treatment over 2.5 years ago, and his neuropathy has not returned. Give them a call. When you call, make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show so you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. That's lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Give them a call, and again, make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. All right, now, New Year's, I have not been out on New Year's Eve in, oh goodness, I don't know how long. It's been forever. And the reason is, it's dangerous. It's incredibly dangerous. I mean, there's a story out of New Orleans. This is out of New Orleans, just breaking. At least 10 people are dead, 30 left injured after an SUV plowed into a crowd celebrating New Year on Bourbon Street in New Orleans in the French Quarter. You know, I've never been to New Orleans. I just don't have any desire to go to that French Quarter, that Bourbon Street and all that stuff. It seems like a tourist trap with a bunch of drunken people. The driver rammed into the large group at high speed. I mean, this is just god-awful. What a terrible way to start the year. The driver rammed into the large group at high speed, then got out of the vehicle and started firing a weapon, according to CBS News. Police returned fire. Witnesses claim the suspect was wearing full body armor. He was armed with an assault rifle, according to reports on social media. Videos circulating on social media appear to have been recorded at the scene show multiple casualties on the ground. People were seen running. Dozens of police officers responded to what authorities have declared a mass casualty event, and a portion of the road has been cordoned off. I mean, at least 10 are dead, 30 left injured, and, you know, this is a story that, you know, hopefully will not get worse, but, you know, these people go to the hospital and things change. You know, these late night events like New Year's, yeah, I know, Mom and Dad told you, nothing good happens after midnight. That is not just Mom and Dad. That is a reality. And I know people don't want to hear that. But being out at these events where everyone's drunk is just dangerous. And, you know, we're moving into this new era, this Trump era, in 19 days when Trump is sworn into office for his second and non-consecutive term. the Democrats, and who knows, Biden's on vacation still. His whole life's about to be a vacation in 19 days, but he's taken vacations like crazy in the last few weeks. They take these incidents and then they start talking about gun control and, we need common sense gun control and all this stuff. Last time I checked, we have common sense laws against running over people at a high speed in your SUV and then getting out and shooting unarmed people with an assault. We already have laws against all this. And, of course, people don't obey the laws. You look at this crime spree that's going on in the city of New York. I saw somebody else got pushed in front of a train. It looks like they survived, and they arrested the guy that did it. If you look at most of these incidents, New York and New Orleans, because you got all the bars and the alcohol, these are mostly gun-free zones where people, even in places where gun laws are right, like we have here in Florida, these murderers target places where people won't have guns, right? Remember that Charlottesville shooter? He was going to shoot up a school, a college, and then he got there was armed security, so he went to a church. There was no one armed at the church. The tragic shooting here and we've had two big shootings in Florida, the tragedy, the one in Orlando, the one in Parkland, both gun-free zones, right? A nightclub, a school, they always target gun-free zones. But I started seeing people talking about this in the last couple of weeks. The gun control argument is done forever now because of the 3D printing. And I've even seen Democrats acknowledging this, that the gun control, even if everyone agreed, because, if for gun control to happen, it had to be the law-abiding citizens, right? So if every law-abiding American agreed 100% gun control, obviously that's not going to happen, thankfully, but if they did and everyone turned in their guns and they were no longer manufactured, all the guns were destroyed, the criminals would be making them with the 3D printers the same day. So it's one of those issues that is, with time is fading away, and it's not going to be discussed anymore. Okay, now we're 19 days away. I know it's a tragedy in New Orleans. I mean, it's just god-awful, those poor people. We're 19 days away from the inauguration of President Trump. And of course, when that happens, everything is going to change. And, one of the things that happened right after his re-election is we saw that the president of Mexico was starting to do what Trump wanted, right? She turned around 2 or 3 caravans. She was preparing for the Remain in Mexico. And then, we saw what happened with Canada. And if you notice, there's been a lot of press in the last week that the Mexican president and the Mexican government are not cooperating. Well, I don't know how true that is, but there's a story that I've seen all week, and then it really hit today. I'll read this to you. It says here, the Mexican government is deploying hundreds of lawyers to the United States to assist 4 million Mexican migrants living illegally in the United States. They're trying to protect migrants from deportation. The effort includes launching an app with an alert button to notify Mexican consulates that people have been apprehended or are about to, so they can provide legal aid to them. Have you seen this story? And I noticed this story is starting to circulate quite a bit. I don't believe this story at all. In different states, maybe it's different than in Florida. But in Florida, you can't walk 10 feet without seeing a billboard or a bus bench advertising a personal injury attorney. If you watch television here in Florida, every other commercial is a personal injury attorney. And I know, it's a big racket for the attorneys. And what I'm wondering about this story, because every time I see this story about this app for the illegals to click on, and the Mexican government is going to send them lawyers, the Mexican government basically is a puppet government of the drug cartels. Does everyone not agree with that? I mean, and it's a third world country. Here they are. They're in North America as long as us, if not longer. It's still a third world country. All of a sudden, they're this organized. What I tend to suspect with this story is that it's not the Mexican government that's organizing this app and this lawyer thing that they're talking about. I think there's a new area of law, like personal injury attorneys, of lawyers that are setting up a way to get work from the illegals to try to defend them without them being sent back. It's like a new area of law. And this app that they're talking about, if it exists, because I've yet to see the app named. I see a lot of stories in the mainstream media reporting the app, but I've yet to see the app. I'm wondering if the app does exist, because even in this story, they don't tell us the name of the app or anything else. Was it really put together by the Mexican government or some big law firm that's putting together some type of network of attorneys, like personal injury, like a referral service, for attorneys to represent the illegals? But I'm going to tell you, these deportations of these people is going to happen so fast. They're going to be back in their country of origin before they could get an attorney and meet with an attorney and go somewhere. Okay? I mean, these people, first off, President Trump's starting with the criminals. They're in the country illegally doing crime. They're going to be deported so quick by Tom Homan, they're not going to have time to sit around and click an app and wait for some attorney to come find them. And if the Democrats believe that they're going to be able to hold up these mass deportations in courts, they tell us already that these immigration judges are so overloaded that they can't even have hearings. The hearings are backlogged for like a decade. How are they going to do it? It's just not going to happen. The deportations are going to happen so quick. In fact, I would imagine that of all the planning that's going on with President Trump right now, the deportation plans probably are some of the biggest. Now, I want to tell you, it's a new year, and Mike Lindell has just announced a huge number of New Year's specials at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane. And remember, it is free shipping on orders over $75 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. But the premium MyPillow, I have these pillows. These are amazing. The cover of the MyPillow on the premium MyPillow is that Giza cotton that the sheets are made out of, which is the finest cotton in the world. These pillows, they're a luxury upscale MyPillow, just $25 with our promo code Kane at checkout. The regular price is $69.98. It's an incredible deal. The American flag pillow, just $7.49 with our promo code Kane at checkout. The MyPillow mattresses, huge discounts on those with our promo code Kane. The MyPillow bathrobes, my wife and I have the MyPillow bathrobes as well, just $59.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And they come in a whole bunch of new colors. The MyPillow pet beds, just $39.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Huge New Year's specials site-wide at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And I just named off a couple. And remember, you can use our promo code Kane, Kane, on all the specials at MyPillow.com, not just the ones that I mentioned. Huge deals and free shipping on orders over $75. That's the promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout at MyPillow.com. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name's Brian Craig. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this. Calling Steve. Hello? Yep, you there? Yep, you there? I can't. It doesn't sound like it's plugged in. No, I'm not hearing. I can hear, but it's like far away. It sounded perfect when we tested it. You there? Can you hear me? Got 3 minutes. Yeah, you still sound far away. It was working perfectly the other day. Do you have the headset on? It sounds like it's on speaker. I can hear... Well, you shouldn't hear me on the speaker. You should hear in the headset. I got 2 minutes. Can you hear me? You there? Always a glitch. First glitch. I lost you. Well, take the headset out and then have it off speaker and just hold it normally. And we'll test that out after. I'll call after. We'll figure that out. Because I only got like a minute left. No, it won't. Just take me off speaker. You've got it connected to another device, it sounds like. Are you talking up to the phone? Oh, let me hear Steve. You there? You there? One more time. I keep getting disconnected. Let me hear Steve. I got a minute. Yeah, it doesn't sound like it did. You're coming through, but it didn't sound like when we tested it the other day. Are you on the... It's on your end. Can you unplug the headset? Or is it speaker? You have it on the speaker? Or you got to take it off speaker? It should, no. Hang up and I'll call you right back and answer it without the speaker. Okay. And that. Well, let me call you back during the next break. Try to figure it out, and I'll call you back during the next break. Because it was working fine when we tested it with the headset. All right, I'll call you back at 15. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We are live on this January 1st, New Year's Day, the first year of The Steve Kane Show's 48th year on the radio. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 1-888-465-2631. All right, let's go back to our phones, which have been pretty busy on a holiday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Kenny from Palm Beach.
Hey, Kenny, what's up?
Happy New Year to you, Brian.
Thank you. What's on your mind?
What I wanted to say, you were talking earlier about, the defunding the police and whatnot. I kind of understand that. They talk about putting the money into other uses and social services and whatnot. I don't agree with it by any means. But what possible reason would they have to let these judges, liberal judges, let these people time and time again that murder and rape and whatever out of prison and not hold them in
because
prison?
when it comes to federal crimes, I know it sounds nuts because we've never had such a lawless, corrupt president as Joe Biden. All right, but if these are federal crimes, a president can commute or pardon anyone of any federal crime, murder, terrorism, whatever it is.
I'm not saying just the current presidential pardons, but I'm saying the liberal judges across the country. You see time and time again these stories of these people being let out of prison or not being held with
liberals.
bail.
Liberals. This is the deal with liberals. I know it makes no sense. I saw another governor was, pardoning and commuting more death penalties. And if you remember years ago, one of the Democrat governors of Illinois commuted the sentence of everyone on death row in Illinois. Democrats have really a fetish for criminals. They just do. They have some fetish for criminals. I don't know why that is.
What's in it for them? I don't get
what's in it for them? It's hard to say what's in it for them. I don't know what it's in. I don't know what is in it for them. I just know that they have a fetish for criminals. Sometimes it's not just the rapist and murder. I mean, look, when Lincoln Riley was murdered, and she was murdered defending herself to the death to avoid being raped by that illegal, right? And what did all the Democrats say? Well, how many Americans are murdering people, right? But it extends to other things too, even terrorism. People forget after 9/11, Bill Clinton, Mario Cuomo, and many other high-profile Democrats at the time, after 9/11, I'm talking about the week of 9/11, like September 12th, 13th through the 15th, were saying, what did we do to cause them to knock down these buildings, they said. President Clinton said that. So the left always side with monsters. They view criminals as oppressed victims.
I mean, I studied a little bit, not studied, but read about and lived through the era of Bill Ayers, the a Chicago professor that Obama and
Obama's
Reverend
that he
Wright-
ghost wrote Obama's book, it's believed.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he professed things like let the murders out of prison and whatnot. I know they wanted to take over the media and all kinds of things to destroy a democracy, but it just...
Well, those are
day
you're
you
talking
see
about.
more and more.
Well, you're talking about Bill Ayers. You're talking about like radical revolutionaries that were trying to bring down the government. But in general, you know, with the reason Biden's doing it, we don't really know. But my guess would be Biden is doing these commutations and pardons for the same reason he does everything. Somehow he's getting paid. You know, has
Well,
Biden
maybe
done
the liberal-
anything
maybe the
without
liberal ju-
personal profit?
Maybe the liberal judges are getting paid too. I don't know.
Well,
it's just crazy.
they pick lunatic judges that are sympathetic to criminals. I don't. It doesn't make sense. You cannot try to logically explain insanity, which is what you're trying. You're trying to make sense of lunacy, and you can't. They're crazy people.
Or have a logical conversation with a liberal. It doesn't happen.
Correct. But they always side with criminals. Sometimes they're terrorists, sometimes they're murderers, sometimes they're rapists. But they always view criminals and terrorists as victims.
I just wish these liberal judges could be held accountable when they let people out and they the recidivism of the rapes and the murder continue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if they are accountable to anybody.
I know. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. All right, got to run, and I have my my New Year's resolution that I've made with Steve is to take all of the breaks on time, and here we are in the third hour, the first show of the year, and we're taking this one on time too. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be right back. Hello? Okay, you sound fine now. Yeah, but I'm gonna put you on a different thing. You may not hear me quite as loud, but you'll hear me. How do you have it set up now? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you sound fine. So I'm gonna but all right, hold on. Okay, hold on. Later today we'll get the other thing worked out. Okay. With the headset, it was working when we tested it the other. We're coming back in just a minute. I'm going to put you on hold. You're going to hear music on hold, but I'll pick you up in a minute. Okay. All right, we got Steve. Our setup for Steve has not been working, so we'll work on that after the show. No, Steve's where he normally is. It's just the connection's not working as well as it was. All right, we'll be back in less than a minute. Welcome back. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We've got Steve with us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning. How are you? Talk up nice and loud.
Perfect. I got you perfect. Okay. We got everything. It's our first day with our new setup, so we got everything working kind of well. Well,
all right,
it is.
Let's give it a shot.
All right. We're on the. If you're on hold, hang in there. It is the first day of 2025. 19 days, Steve, until Trump is sworn in.
Can't come soon enough for me.
Oh, my goodness. I know. The insanity that's been going on, and everything's going to start to happen. But I was talking earlier at the start of the show. Steve Bannon has been just going off on Trump and Elon Musk. I mean, just like attacking him. He's been attacking Trump through Elon Musk on this H-1B visa thing. And, I think what happens a lot of times, there's obviously a lot of egos and divisions going on of, people that don't have as much access as they think they should have to President Trump. So I think that's what's going on with Bannon. Bannon, I think, there's a lot of jealousy of Elon Musk, who was with President Trump last night at New Year's next to President Trump and Melania all night. They were even dancing next to each other, Trump and Elon Musk. But, this infighting that's going on, it's got to stop. I mean, I don't think this is a time to really disagree or question Trump on anything. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
Well, I agree, but I mean, we got there's a fine line, because as we talk about it, we feed it.
It's out there. It's out there,
I think the only way to get rid of it is to stop talking about it.
I guess so. Well, there's another thing that's happened too, okay? Where when you're in a holiday time, there's somewhat of a slower news period, but also since Trump's not in office, he hasn't really done anything yet. So there's not a lot of, when it comes to Trump, there's not a lot of controversy going on. So a lot of people, because there's no controversy that goes on, they're kind of manufacturing it, I think, a little bit. And I think there's some of that going on too. But I'll tell you this. There's going to be more controversy in 19 days than we've ever seen. I mean, and the left and the media, they may not realize this, but they're not going to be able to do much about it. There's going to be so many. On day one, we're going to get the executive orders, which we don't even know what they are, but those are going to be filled with controversies that the media are going to have and the left are going to have meltdowns over.
There's no question of that. It's just we've got to be patient and we've got to outthink them.
Exactly.
We can't fall for every false flag they throw up. We can't bite.
Exactly. Then we're going to have the probably on day one we're going to start getting the pardons of the J6 prisoners. The deportations are going to start. God knows what else. Trump is everything that Trump is going to do is a big move. There's nothing he is going to do on his first days and weeks in office that's not a big deal. There's going to be so many controversies up in the air. The never-Trumpers and the fake news media are not going to be able to zero in and combat any of it. There's going to be too many things going on. They're going to be it's going to be probably the most active and controversial early days of any presidency that any of us have ever lived through. I can't wait.
There's no question of that. There's no question of that.
It's going to be exciting.
We have to, as talk show hosts, we have to outthink them and not fall for all these phony issues that they will bring up. I mean, there's going to be no shortage of issues.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We just can't let ourselves get manipulated.
Yeah.
I mean, the good, hooks. The good hook for all of it is promises made, promises kept.
That's right.
Because they're all going to be promises, and he's going to live up to his word, and that reinforces our position.
Exactly. You trust in Trump. Another way to say it. It's good. This is such an amazing time that we're in, and a lot of people that are conservative, we have never won as big as we've won right now. This is the biggest Republican victory that anyone alive has ever experienced. And things are, we were, yesterday, I don't know if we talked about it on the show yesterday too much, but the speaker battle, that's been, you think it's been settled, Steve? Because Trump endorsed Johnson.
It appears that way on the surface.
Yeah. So, the day before you were in a panic. How are they going to certify the election? Now we got that settled. Just boom, just like that. I mean, what I know.
Well, that's what it's going to take.
All these people in the news, they say, oh, they interview this Republican or that Republican. Oh, Mike Johnson doesn't have the votes. Trump's not in office yet. The closer it gets to Inauguration Day, the more you're going to see some of these people start to fall into line. Okay, so we're going to try. Let's see here. We're going to try to take some calls here. So let me see how this will work. Hold on. Let me. Hold on. We got a new system here that I'm trying to figure out. And okay. I've got you, Steve, and I am going to go to the phones. I think I'm going to try to go to the phones. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean, what's up?
Well, first, I want to wish you, Kathy, and Steve a Happy New Year.
Well, thank you.
It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
And just so, the optimism is electric. And I think what MAGA has to realize, too, is, we see a lot of this psyop infighting. Donald Trump knows what he's doing, and we take his lead, and I think that's the ultimate, point here is, we have to really, everybody has to, I know you do, we have to realize is that he's got it all under control. And I think once he gets, once things start to get into play, he's got the whole board set up.
That's right. Hey, Steve, are you, by the way, because our new system, are you with us, Steve? Okay, I think I lost Steve. All right, hold on. Let me try to get Steve. All right, hold on. Are you back with us, Steve? I think I lost Steve. Okay, all right. Well, that didn't work too well. I'll try it again. You back with us now, Steve?
I'm here.
Did I lose you when I took the other caller?
I was listening to music.
Oh my goodness! I didn't conference you. Okay, well, it's a new phone, guys, so I'll get it figured out, Steve. Yeah, this way we're doing a new setup, and I'm in a different location today than I am normally at. And I said, well, let's do this. A lot of times we take off on the 1st. So I said, well, let's do the show on the 1st because if there's any
a
trial run on a holiday, because it's better to have some mess ups and technical mishaps on a holiday than on a regular day. Okay, I'm going to try it again. Okay, so if I lose you, we would not normally do it this way, but we are going to try it. All right, I got you and I got you. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Do I got you, Steve?
You got me.
I got you, but I don't have the other guy. Hold on, we'll try it. Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? It's still just you, Steve. I got to figure out how to do this or we're going to be in big trouble. All right, let's try here. Okay. All right. Do we got you? You're on the air.
I am. Oh, it's John from Massachusetts still.
Hey, John. Okay, I got you. Do I have you, Steve? I don't have Steve. I just have you. I'll figure out how to do the conferencing soon enough. All right, finish up Massachusetts, then we'll move on.
All right, yeah. I just find it funny, I think everything is going to be incredible and it'll be well accomplished once he gets everything into play. But I do notice it's funny how, when Carter passed away, he's got this, they got the flag.
This is just going to be a disaster. Oh, boy, Steve. This is going to be one of those days, Steve. I'm glad we did this on a holiday and not like on one of the big days. It was going fine. Until now.
Wow.
With the first 2 hours. The first 2 hours we didn't have any problems whatsoever, and I knew the problems would begin when we were connecting you in and we're doing the conferencing. We'll get it figured out. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number's toll free 1-888-465-2631. I may not be able to figure out the phone conferencing till after the show, but we'll get it going somehow. All right, so let me try it this way. All right, let me go. And you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You there? Well, all right, that didn't work either. Oh, boy. I tell you, Steve, it's going to be one of those days. We may have to go with just the two of us today, Steve, if I can't get it worked out.
You want to go to the phone?
Well, I'm trying, but I've not been able to conference you with any of our full board of calls that we have. So it's still a work in progress. Every time we go to a different studio, we got problems. The first 2 hours of the show went by flawlessly, and I knew the problem was going to come when we connected you, but I thought I had it figured out, but I do not. I'm going to continue to try, though. All right, let's go, and you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, we'll try it again. You're on the air. No, that didn't work. Okay, it's just you and me for now, Steve. I'll get it figured out.
Well, it's okay. Let's see. we can do that with just you and me, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as we don't bring in callers.
I'll figure out how to bring in the callers, but it's just I'll probably do it after the show. You know, listen. You know, out of everything Trump's going to do, though, is there a particular thing that you're most looking forward to him doing?
Getting these aliens out of here is, of course, the
illegals
major thing.
Yeah. There's no getting around that. The illegals, that's number one. Well, get the illegals and finishing the wall. Those are the two first things. Yeah, I would say so. Because when he starts the deportations, it's going to be mainly with the criminals, the ones that are like the violent felons first. The deportations are going to be so incredibly popular. I don't think that the media and the Democrats and the Never Trumpers are prepared for that at all. All right, I have taken now this you'll be proud of, Steve. I have taken every single break today on time. There's not been every single break since the first break in the 6 o'clock hour. I've taken on time. That's my New Year's resolution.
Well,
so we'll take
that makes it all worthwhile.
That's right. All right, so we'll take our bottom of the hour break. I'm going to put you on hold, Steve, and we'll be right back. Now, why I can't do the conferencing, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out after the show. All right. So yeah, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, hold on. Okay. All right, we're in the break. I'll get the phone thing figured out afterwards. I just don't want to keep doing it on the air. Did you have anything in particular? Okay. Okay, hold on. But everything else is working fine. You're hearing me and everything. Okay, all right, hold on. Coming back in just a few seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane with us. You back with us, Steve?
You're
back with us. Yep, you're back with us. All right, we are back. Oh, boy. 48 years on the radio today. We've had worse technical problems. You know, I was looking during the break, this incident in New Orleans where the guy shot everybody. The mayor of New Orleans called it a terrorist act, and they're saying that the shooter's deceased. But, you know...
Well, wait, okay, slow down, because you got to clarify something for me. What are you talking about?
The one in Bourbon Street. The Bourbon Street attack in New Orleans.
Yeah, but that was with a car.
Yeah, then he got out with a gun. With an assault rifle.
Okay, I didn't get the update on the story. What's the latest on it?
Let me pull up the latest, because it's just updating, because it's breaking as we speak. But let's see here. It says here, at least 10 people are dead, 30 injured after a vehicle plowed into a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. The driver rammed into a large group at high speed, then got out and started firing a weapon, witnesses said.
Oh, my God.
Investigators said they found what appeared to be improvised explosives at the crash site that did not detonate. Police returned fire. 2 officers were shot by the suspect. They're in stable condition. The suspect is deceased, local news is reporting. No information about the suspect has been released at this time. Witnesses claim the
Middle East.
Yeah, I will see. Yeah. That's where your mind goes. Nothing wrong with that. What are you supposed to think? Witnesses say the suspect was wearing full body armor.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. That's something. And armed
ready for battle.
Yeah, and armed with an assault rifle. Videos on social media showed a chaotic scene at the tourist hotspot. Dozens of police officers have responded. Okay, so that's in the Daily Mail. Let me see if I got an update on Fox. Fox is calling it a terrorist attack. They have terrorist attack in quotations. And I got to tell you, this is the fastest I've ever, since 9/11, okay? This is the fastest I've ever heard an attack called a terrorist attack. Because, I remember with the Boston bombing, it took them like a day or two.
He must have been wearing a turban.
I guess. And and if you remember in Fort Hood, they wouldn't even say the name of the shooter, Nidal Hassan, because they didn't call it a terrorist attack for a long time. But New Orleans mayor declares Bourbon Street event a terrorist attack.
Well, it certainly sounds like it.
New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell said New Orleans fell victim to a terrorist attack at a news conference today after a driver plowed a car into a large crowd of New Year's celebrants earlier this morning on Bourbon Street. The FBI special agent in charge, Aletha Duncan, a lot of weird names there, Aletha and LaToya. Well, I think we can say that we have diversity in America, okay? At least in one direction. The FBI special agent Aletha Duncan says the incident is not a terrorist attack, like the mayor said, and said that right after the mayor said it. At least 10 were killed, 30 injured after the driver intentionally rammed into the crowd. Terrorist attack, I guess they want to clarify it's not a Muslim. But if anybody does something like this, right, they run people over, they got body armor, then they shoot people that survive that, and they have explosive devices, that's a terrorist attack. What they really mean to say is they don't want to declare it Islamic terrorism. The FBI special agent in charge says it's not a terrorist attack, but the FBI also says improvised explosive devices were found. So what I mean, I got a call earlier in the show before you joined us, and it was a guy. He was asking me about Biden just commuted the sentences to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind of 9/11, who he had the whole idea and planned it, and took the death penalty.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, now he's going to have a life sentence, but Biden commuted the death penalty sentences of the mastermind of 9/11 and a couple other of the top Al-Qaeda terrorists. Just broke early this morning and last night. And a guy was asking me, why do these Democrats, why do they always do this? And I don't know the answer, but I told him liberals have a fetish when it comes to criminals. They're always attracted to criminals, and I don't understand why, but historically, that's just the way they are. Sometimes the criminals are terrorists, sometimes they're domestic, but they always are sympathetic to criminals. I don't know why that is. I mean, if I tried to make sense of it, I mean, they in their mind, criminals.
It's the remainder of this horrible thing that would do. The thing I'm most proud that we're getting rid of on this round is the woke deal.
Yeah.
And it's the last remnant of the woke thing.
What, the being sympathetic to criminals?
The terrorists, the terrorists are sympathetic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it seems in some way, all these pardons and commutations that Biden has done have got to be the most controversial of any president in modern history. I mean, and he's doing so many of them. Like that woman.
Disgusting.
Yeah, that woman he let out of prison that killed 3 of her lovers, and all that.
Yeah.
But in a way, he's doing a favor to Trump, because when Trump pardons the J6 prisoners, after everything Biden's been doing, the pardoning of the J6 prisoners will seem like no big deal, right? But what's scary to me is when here we are 19 days away. Usually controversial pardons happen the last night of a presidency, sometimes the last morning before the inauguration. They do the controversial.
You're going to see Biden's last day. You're going to see a mountain of pardons coming.
Well, after you commute the death penalty sentence of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind of 9/11, what pardons, what commuting of sentences can he do that's more controversial than that? That's scary to me. I mean, if he's saving the big ones for the end.
They're doing it in waves. They're not doing it all at once. They're trying to spread it out.
Oh, my goodness.
Believe me, they spend hours agonizing about the rate at which they should release this story.
Oh,
they understand its potential. Oh, Biden's finished. I mean, it's pathetic.
Well, if you've seen him lately, he is, beyond out of it. Just beyond out of it. So
Beyond Out of It. That's a good title for his autobiography.
Beyond Out of It. Yeah, that's a good. That's the movie about it. The movie about the Biden president. Beyond Out of It. What I wonder with the pardons, and this might sound ridiculous, but this is a serious question. Presidents have that electronic pen where they don't have to actually sign every document. But when it comes to these pardons, do they have to physically sign it? Or, the electronic pen can be done by anybody. And what I'm wondering is, if these serious pardons require an actual signature, he has pardoned hundreds of people. How could he be signing all these pardons? Is it even humanly possible? And what I mean by that is somebody else signing the pardons for him? Or is he signing them? Right?
It's hard to determine.
Well, is there a way when Trump comes in office in 19 days, they could look into that? And if they found out that Biden, because some of these things, Steve, are so kooky and stupid and insane. There's
no question. There's no question, but don't worry, we won't forget anything.
Well, what I mean is, if they find out that Biden didn't sign these pardons, but like his staff was doing it, would it invalidate the pardons? Would the pardons not really be pardons? And people like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, they could have that commutation reversed.
It's a good question. Kind of makes me wish our phones were working.
I know, doesn't it? They're working. I just can't conference you in with them right now. I'll figure out how to do it after the show. I thought I had it down. I did a test run, and everything was working fine until it was time to do it. for real. And then it didn't work, but I'll get it worked out. And then, yeah, so that'll be a question for tomorrow.
One of the things I'd like to speculate on is we return these brutal murderers to their native countries. What prevents them from just turning around the next day and coming back?
Well, that's the big thing. Like, so these rapists and murderers that, like that Venezuelan gang. Do you trust Venezuela when when Trump takes them back to put them in jail? Or will they?
I keep forgetting the name of that game.
I don't know. Trende El Del something. I keep forgetting too. Alagua? Okay. My Spanish isn't very good.
Alagua.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. So, I don't understand that. What you asked is a great question. How we can rely on these countries to keep these hardcore criminals there. I mean,
they can't do it unless they start by locking them up. And I'm not sure they're going to be in the mood for that.
But do you want to lock them up here?
Soon enough.
Do you want to lock them up here? Or do you want them locked up? I mean,
No. I mean, in their native countries. I mean, Trump has got their attention.
Mm-hmm.
He said all the right things. They know if they don't cooperate, there are going to be some pretty negative consequences in terms of their commercial future with the United States.
The Venezuelan gang, what's really scary about that is this isn't just a regular street gang. This is a prison gang. And when you see the videos of them, what blows my mind is that they don't even bother with masks. Right? They don't even bother with masks. That's how fearless they are. So if someone is out there doing hardcore crimes with, it looks almost like military grade weapons. I don't know how they get these weapons, but they got these massive guns. If they're not even hiding their face, when somebody is that fearless, how do you combat that? I mean, to me, that's scary because if they had any fear that they were going to be apprehended, they would cover their face. They'd wear a mask or a bandana. But they're exposing their face while they're doing all these hardcore crimes. That's like some of the scariest criminals I've ever seen when they're that fearless.
Well, that's why it's going to be interesting to watch.
Okay, well, we're going to take our last break of the last hour of the first day of 2028. And I will get the phone conferencing thing with you worked out after the show, I promised. I had to, I did like 3 test runs, and I had it perfectly done until we had to do it for real. If you're on hold, hang in there. If I can figure it out, we'll get to the calls before the end of the show. But we are here live on this January 1st, and we're going to be here all week live. We'll be here both Thursday and Friday live as well. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, here. We'll take our last break and be right back. Yeah, I know. Those of you on hold, I'm sorry. I just can't. I gotta get the conferencing thing with Steve worked out before I can't be doing that on the air. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You know, that's why I did it on a holiday. So I will get that worked out today. So the next time I do the show from here, we won't have those problems. By the way, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Oh, 10 seconds. Okay. Welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. We are here live on January 1st, the first year of the 48th year of the Steve Kane Show. You know, I was thinking during the break, Steve, 48 years on the air in Florida. That's crazy. 48, 2 years, it'll be 50.
I'm planning on retirement at 50 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
2 more years.
Oh, my goodness.
Then I leave and turn the whole thing over to you.
Oh, I can't wait. Do you remember the first show? Can you remember it? I can remember my first time. I remember my first time on the air. You don't remember?
I remember more of your first shows than mine.
Well, yeah,
we were a long time ago.
Yeah, really? You don't remember the first time you were on the air, doing the show? What about What about out of the 48 years? What would you say is like the most memorable thing that happened? What like pops in your mind is like the most memorable?
Probably the trip to the Spawn Ranch to visit Squeaky Fromm and all the man.
Oh, that you think that was like the most like the high? Yeah.
It was the scariest.
When I think of because I've not been with the show for 48 years, but I've been with the show for a long time. And when there's a couple things that stand out to me that have happened on the radio during the time I've been working with you. Okay, that was really weird. You did the show, the format of the Steve Kane Show over the last 48 years has changed from time to time. So far as, and when I say the format, it's always been a call-in talk show, but I mean like the subject matter, the topics. Has changed. And you used to do, like a couple of things that really stand out to me that is the nude show, when you were nude with the nudist.
Yes.
Now, this one...
Actually, it was... not to give people the wrong impression, it was a new day at the station. I was also program director.
Yes.
And we declared that everybody that went on the air, hosts and guests, although we obviously couldn't force people, but we requested that everybody do the show naked that day. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, everybody with the exception of Rick Seidelman chose to participate.
And me, I stayed clothed. And,
yeah, you were pretty uptight.
And there were some people, other than me and Rick, there were some other people who remained clothed. But for the most part, the people that were naked that day on the radio were not people you want to see naked. For the most part, I mean, the people.
I think that's fairly accurate.
But I remember that you probably don't remember this, okay? But when you were doing the show in the nude. You were standing up during the whole show, completely naked from head to toe, and the local television news came in to do a story on this, and they were able to creatively film you where they didn't show anything, even though you were completely naked, standing up, holding. Sometimes they would use like the microphone cord and stuff to obscure. That was very strange. The couple other things that stand out in my mind is
I'm glad I'm number one.
Yeah, the naked one, that was.
It's good to be number one.
Well, the naked one, the one that stands out is because that's when I first started working with you, and I'm like, what have I gotten myself into? It was so bizarre, but a couple of the other
interesting.
Yes, the couple other things that stand out in my mind was the Baby Precious. Remember?
Oh, yes.
Now, Baby Precious, okay, we were doing this debate on the air about abortion, and there was a pro-abortion person in studio, and we had gotten from one of the pro-life groups here in South Florida, Baby Precious. Baby Precious was an actual human baby that had been aborted, that was sealed, medically sealed, a medically sealed fetus. And I can't. Who was on? Do you remember?
Gallon jar. It was like in a gallon jar.
Kind of. Well, it was
She
kind of
was
like a. But it was.
little girl.
It was professional. You know, the baby Precious was professionally medically sealed. It was medically done. Okay, it wasn't like just a baby in a jar, but it was like, you know, like you would see in a medical school, like a medical school would have this. And we had a pro-abortion activist, a couple of them, in the studio, and they did not know that we had Baby Precious, and you had them go through this thing about, you know, their position on abortion, and they were, you know how that all went, you know, oh, it's just a glob of cells and everything, and then you reached down and you pulled out Baby Precious that had eyebrows and fingers and toes and everything else, and they were this like.
And fingernails and toenails.
Yeah, it was insane. And Baby Precious, although was aborted, was the same age as me, almost to the day, because it had the date of the abortion on the medical form, same age as me. Isn't that something crazy? And that was a big one. And I remember that was pretty crazy.
You left out the punchline of the story.
Which was what? I don't know if we're thinking about the same one.
We were talking about the same one, Baby Precious.
Yeah.
In the gallon jar, I pulled out the gallon jar and put it on the air, I put it on the table in front of her.
Yes.
And she lost it.
Oh yeah.
She went to pieces and started yelling and screaming, and she had an hysterical fit.
Yeah.
Which told me that it backed up my inclination that a lot of these abortion advocates, that they all started trying to rid themselves of their own unborn child at a certain point in time in their life, and their position as militant activists in favor of killing babies was a result of how they coped with that experience.
And then after that show, we still had Baby Precious. And the pro-life group that we were loaned Baby Precious from, they ghosted us. We couldn't get back in touch with them, and I had for quite some time Baby Precious at home. And
dead baby in your closet.
Yeah, well, you know, it was. I kept Baby Precious in.
Well, what were you going to do? You weren't going to throw it out.
No. And I didn't know what to do. And the people that loaned us Baby Precious, they went dark on us. I couldn't find them. And I tried and tried.
Was that Doris, the tent lady? Was that Doris?
No, she came to my rescue. So what happened was, you were on vacation, and we had your pastor, Bob Coy, who was a pastor at the time at Calvary Chapel.
Oh, yeah, Bob was a great pastor.
Yeah, Bob Coy was filling in for you. And at the time, he was pastor of Calvary Chapel, Fort Lauderdale. And I don't know if he remembers this, but this was insane. So what would happen is, and you were going to that church at the time. So what happened is, all these liberal callers were calling in to tell Pastor Bob Coy all the sins that they know of that you've committed and I've committed. And it was...
It was a lengthy list.
It was a long... Well, he was filling in for a number of days. And one of the callers called in and says, "Oh, by the way, Pastor, Brian has an aborted fetus in his closet." And Pastor Coy said, "What?" And I explained. It's like, "Oh, okay, I get." And one of our listeners, Doris the tent lady, who on occasion still calls, although we haven't heard from her in a few months, she's in her almost 100. She should check in so we know she's still kicking. But Doris the tent lady, one of our listeners, is a very religious Catholic lady. She actually got in touch with a local priest, and she arranged to have a proper funeral for Baby Precious, a proper Catholic funeral. And so Baby Precious had a proper Christian funeral with a priest. So it worked out
Did we
fine.
do that on the air?
We did not do that on the air. We probably should have. If we were doing it now, I would have probably done it on YouTube and made a whole video of it.
An opportunity missed.
But I had that baby. That we did that show before my daughter was born, and then my daughter was born, and my wife is like, we've got 2 babies in that. My wife was like, you got to do something about baby Precious. We have 2 babies in the house, and it took me like 3 or 4 years before we could handle it properly. But Doris the tent lady came through. We had a proper funeral for baby Precious. So those are a couple of that and the other thing. Those are a couple of the big ones that I remember over the last 48 years. But there have been other crazy things that have happened. But those are...
That's for sure.
Oh, my goodness. But, the reason I bring this stuff up, though, a lot of times people come... Well, I saw this happen with President Trump last night at the New Year's party at Mar-a-Lago. They bring, they bring up things like they're trying to say that he switched his position on the visas and all this stuff. If you live long enough, you change your mind on things, and things change with people, and that's just the way it is.
That's what they say.
Like how this show has changed so much over the last 48. I mean, the format's still the same, and it's been controversial and talk about all the controversial issues.
We've evolved as people, and we're different than we were when we started, and it's reflected in I've listened to old tapes of what we did in the past, and I don't even recognize myself on the air.
No, we did, and for 10 years, before there was YouTube and all that stuff, for about 5 or 10 years, maybe it was 5 years, we had a cable access show, the Steve Kane show, the cable access show. And
that was a wild show.
Yeah, and there's 100 episodes of that show. I have a copy of every one of our cable access TV shows. And no one has seen them in years. One day I'll unveil them. The Baby Precious incident is on one of those.
Yeah, we had some interesting things on the television.
Oh my
show.
goodness, it's a pretty wild show. One day I'll unveil them. I don't know, but anyways, but the show this is the first day of the 48th year of the Steve Kane Show, and the show's been on the air for 48 years for a whole bunch of reasons, but in large part because of you all in the listening audience who support the show.
Definitely.
And support our sponsors. And I cannot thank you all enough for your many years of support of the program. And I know Steve thanks you all too. And you guys in this audience have just been a great and very loyal audience as we start the 48th year. All right, well, listen, we are winding down towards the end. I had everything perfectly set up for our new arrangement almost. Well, hey, listen, worse things have happened. We'll get it worked out. The show will always go on. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. My name's Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, here. We'll be back tomorrow live and Friday live all week, guys. Everyone have a safe and happy new year. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. God bless America. Happy New Year. All right, that's it. Sarah, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thanks so much. All right, so now I got to spend my day getting the phone thing worked out, and then we will be good to go. Thanks, everyone, for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? Take care. I'm Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We'll talk soon.